Hey guys, Andy here. Exciting day today because it's Pixel Day. And I have here my sort of Seafoam or whatever it is, Pixel 6. And I'm just going to call it Pixel 6. I'm not saying it's a Pixel 6 regular or normal or standard. It's a Pixel 6. There's a Pixel 6 Pro, but this is a Pixel 6. So let's get that out of the way to begin with. And I suppose it's Google's sort of strategy with their phones is quite interesting in some ways. They started obviously with the Nexus device. Well, they started before that, but let's go from Nexus devices in this case, which were really kind of for developers in a lot of ways. It was to show what stock Android was, and they were well priced, and they were often quite sort of mid-range devices. And then the Pixel devices came along, and Google was sort of stepping things up a notch. They were trying to be a better build quality to them. They were trying to sort of play with the big boys. They were usually still quite well priced. And I think because of that, they weren't ever quite up there with the big boys. Then the Pixel 5 came along last year, which I think fairly certainly was a mid-range phone. And I was fine with that. I was quite happy with that, with the price point. And actually the performance was fine. The camera was very good, as you'd expect from a Pixel device. And I was thinking, I'll just stick with my Pixel 5 this year. There was a lot of talk about the Pixel 6 being, Google are really now getting into it. They really want to mix it with the big boys. And I guess I was envisaging the Pixel 6 would be £900, £1,000 or more, and it would be the proper top-end device. I didn't get to see the announcement because I was working, but then when I checked the prices afterwards, like, oh, there's a Pixel 6 at £599. Oh, and you get some Bose headphones with it. And that's the same processor, a lot of the same internals as the Pro, which is £250 more. It almost seemed like a no-brainer. So that's why we're now here. And let's take a bit of a look at the unboxing and a first look at the device. So again, just to be very clear, this is just the unboxing and the first look. It's not the review. What I would say as well, not to try and badmouth all the reviews that are already out there, because I've watched a few of them already and they're great, but just bear in mind, they got sent those devices, and I do think sometimes it's quite hard to give an honest opinion when it's been sent to you for free by Google. I've bought this, it's going to be my main device, I hope, for the next year. As I hope you would expect from me, this will be my honest opinions. First thing to note, it's quite a thin box because, as you probably already know, there is no charging brick inside of this box. I'm fine with that. I can't actually think the last time that I took a charging brick out of a phone box and used it. I've got one of those multi-USB charger thingies on my bedside and at work that's got lots of different chargers, and I just plug my phone into that. In fact, my phone sits on a wireless charger, which is actually from the Huawei P20 Pro. No, Huawei Mate 20 Pro. I don't know. It's like a 70-watt wireless charger I've just kept since that device. And all my wireless charging devices just sit on that at night. So there she is. Oh, it's very shiny. It's also very big. I have to say, I'm a little disappointed in some ways. I really enjoyed the size of the Pixel 5, and I've come to really like smaller devices again. So you start off with small devices through your sort of phone history, and you tend to get bigger, 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 which I did up to the Notes, and I loved the Notes. And then I've kind of come back, actually I quite like, maybe because I jog and cycle more now, and I prefer just a nice small device. And that's just not an option. And if they did do that as an option, would they then throttle all the internals to fit them? I don't know how the phone design would work exactly. Is it just the battery gets smaller, or do they have to change all the other components? And I was thinking, should they, I mean, they have to come up with quite a lot of devices if then you've got two different sizes and two different specs. Well, I want the small but top end. Well, I want the big but budget. And maybe that's kind of that's what the A devices are, the 4A, whatever the last one was, the 5A. I don't know, but yeah, they could perhaps have just done that sort of window spec size, and you choose which of the quadrants you're in. Anyway, so there it is. It's quite a unique design. I've already had some of my friends have said, oh, I don't like the look of that camera bar. I don't mind that kind of thing. It's a little bit like the Pixel 2 XL, the Panda phone that everyone said. It's quite unique. I'm all right with unique. I mean, it's a big, and that is a big camera bar, but I think I'm okay with that. Oh wow, that that's a heavy device. That is a heavy device. I mean, if we put it side by side, it almost don't fit on my camera. They are noticeably different, and it is the Pixel 6. You can feel the weight. It is 207 grams. It is 8.9 millimeters thick. So this is the sort of seafoam, and you do get this sort of two-tone. It's almost a white kind of creamy base with a slightly yellow bar, a black. It does feel very premium, I can tell you that much already. It does feel solid, good, solid device. Inside the case itself, so we've got a C-to-C cable. We've got, honestly, I'm probably not going to bother opening those. There's a SIM ejector tool, which I will, oh, actually I've got those now, so I might use the cable because I am going to transfer one device to the other. But that's all there is in the case. It's not a great deal. It's got the power and the volume with a slight indentation between the two. Let's get them powered up. And while it's powering up, we'll talk briefly about the specifications. So the fingerprint sensor has moved to under screen. That'll be interesting. I'm not quite sure why they do this. I quite liked it on the back of the device because it just seems to fit quite naturally with where your finger's going to be anyway. I feel it's actually a little more awkward to bring your thumb around to the screen, but let's see how we go with that. Hardware-wise, I guess the other big news is it's got its own, Google have got their own chip now. It's rumoured to be made by Samsung, but it's designed by Google, which is probably the important thing. So it's the Google Tensor, it's a 5nm chipset. It's got a custom TPU for AI Tensor Processing Unit. Why is it, it's like vibrating at me at the minute. All right, calm down, I'm coming. Oh, English. United Kingdom, thank you. Welcome to your Pixel. And it's this little pulse for some reason. Oh, it's the thing bouncing, that's when it's pulsing. Okay, I'm gonna ignore that just for the moment. So TPU for AI. It's got an octa-core CPU, so it's got two sort of high-end 2.8 gigahertz sort of high-powered cores, and then it's got two 2.5 gigahertz and four 1.8 gigahertz Cortex A55. The main one, sorry, being a Cortex X1. So essentially two cores for the hard work, and then all the other kind of power savers almost for the not so hard work. But it's also got a security core, a private computer core, and an image processing core, as well as a Mali G78 MP20. This particular one, so this Pro has 128 gig of storage with 8 gig of RAM. You can obviously get it with 256 gig, also 8 gig of RAM. You've got to go to the Pro to get 12 gig of RAM. The storage is UFS 3.1. It's got stereo speakers, which somebody said are crazy. I think it was Techspert swore loud, which has been nice. The screen itself, 6.4 inch, 1080p, so 1080 by 2400, which is a 20 by 9 and around 411 pixels per inch. It is AMOLED, it goes 90 Hertz, and it's HDR10. The Pro goes to 120 Hertz. My Pixel 5 was 90 Hertz. I think it's fine. I honestly not sure I can see the difference. I don't know if it's old eyes or what. I'm not sure I can see the difference. Gorilla Glass protects the whole thing. So Gorilla Glass Victus on the front, Gorilla Glass 6 on the back, with an aluminium frame, sort of matte frame all the way around the edge, which does look very nice. Let's mention the cameras. So we've got 50 megapixel camera, which is f1.9. Now it's 50 megapixel, but all your stills are going to be 12.5 megapixels because basically you use. All right, I must have tapped accessibility mode. It does, oh, what's it called? Pixel binning, I think it's called. So they take 4 pixels and basically make 1 pixel from that, if that makes sense, which is a technique used quite a lot in phones at the moment. There's an ultra wide lens, which is 12 megapixel. And then there's an 8 megapixel selfie camera in the pinhole just there. One thing to note, they are apparently much larger sensors this year. The camera is one of the main reasons I decided to make the jump. There were comments about the Pixel 5 being a kind of a 3 or 4 year old camera setup, the hardware. And the Pixel 6 was going to have new hardware, and I thought, oh, that could be. I mean, the 5 is great already, so what's the 6 going to do? And there's always been comments about how big the sensor is, even larger than the iPhone 13 Pro, which sounds good. 150% more light allowed in than the Pixel 5. That sounds good for low light shots. and the battery is a 4,614 milliamp hour non-removable with fast charging of 30 watts. A lot of people have already commented it's only 30 watts, that's really slow. Well, I think the 5 was only 18 watts. I mean, it's still, 30's fine, 30's plenty. 50% in 30 minutes advertised. And it's also got fast wireless charging of 21 watts, which again is fine. That's fine, that's plenty. You can do reverse wireless charging, charge your things on the back of this phone, and it does have USB power delivery 3.0. So, okay, let's skip the SIM just for the moment. I'll connect it to our Wi-Fi. I mean, basically, I'm going to do the signing in bit. I think at this point I will need to do the plugging in of the old device and let it copy. I don't know how long that'll take. It might be getting dark outside by the time. I mean, it's still daylight at the minute, so maybe I can get out and take a couple of pictures. I'll get Geekbench installed, I'll get a few other things, and we'll come back and have a real quick first look at the device. But I'll get logged in and get everything set up, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, welcome back. So I mean, that's taken about an hour. It actually copied everything over quite quickly. You might have just seen the Geekbench 5 results come in. I'll have to quickly reference. See, that's not massively high. My Poco F3 scored an average of about 3,200. In fact, the F2 scored 3,300. But at the same time, somebody ran, I think it was Antutu, maybe I should start using Antutu. Someone ran Antutu, said it scored really, very well. I mean, the main thing is on kind of how smooth it is, and thus far, it has felt very smooth. I've got no sort of concerns or complaints. Well, aside maybe when it was installing a whole bunch of, I maybe should have started fresh, to be honest, but there we go. The one thing I don't quite get, so I've put the sort of, what's it called? Google U, whatever, I forget what it's called now. Material U clock on my home screen, which has matched itself against my wallpaper, which is fine, and the buttons and such, great. But what's this thing up here, look? And I mean, the best I can apparently do, I don't know if I turn all of these off, will it go? No, I've still got the date and time. Why? And I can't click and drag. I mean, I should give feedback saying, why can't I get rid of that off my home screen? I mean, it's not a big issue because I tend to use Nova Launcher, and I will use Nova Launcher, but I thought I should probably try the Pixel Launcher for a little while on the new Pixel. So there's a few things to look at. We'll start actually with the camera because that's probably what a lot of people want to know about. So I took one photo in my living room, the lights were off, the curtains are drawn, it's getting dark. It really was quite dark. I was struggling to read what was on the boxes, and I used night sight, and I would say it came up pretty impressive. I mean, it's not perfect, it's not super sharp on the edges and the text and things, but I would say it's really very good. I mean, it's hard for me. You have to just take my word for it. It was very dark in that room to the point that I couldn't read some of those boxes. So then I dashed outside, took a regular photo of the sort of back garden area. Then I went to ultra wide angle. Looks pretty good. A lot of people are saying you can tell the difference. The ultra wide is not quite as detailed. I would still say it looked pretty good. I did a 2x zoom, which obviously is mainly digital, right? I think. And again, it looked pretty good. I didn't bother digitally zooming in further. And then I did another quick shot of kind of the greenery. Did a selfie photo of myself. It looks okay, I think. Did a portrait mode photo. That worked really well considering it's just one lens. It's really done a good job around the edges, I would say. Then I moved on to a bit of video. It was quite weird. I switched it to video mode, and I swear I saw the green grass kind of snap into its greenness. And somebody did say that the new processor that they have enables them to do the kind of that HDR type effect on like every single frame of the video. And I think I saw it snap into, oh, there's grass there, boom, and it went. And I mean, looking at the video still of the green grass, it's much greener than the photos green grass. And I'm not sure, like maybe I can change that in settings, I'll have a look. But it looked quite smooth and generally, so obviously this is very early days, this is not the review. This is just a quick look at things, and while there was still some daylight, I dashed out of there to do it. Now, I've set up fingerprints. I don't think it's failed me just yet. It's not as quick, I would suggest, but that's not bad. As I've said, the device is pretty slick in usage. Let's move on to kind of the screen. But I think the screen, it does look really very nice. Obviously, I need a bit more use. Now, the speakers you've heard a bit. In fact, maybe I'll just turn these back up and... Well, it's not that exciting music, is it?
Saying nothing to know, but something to drink and maybe something to smoke. Let it go until our roads are changed. Singing we found love in a local radio. No, I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. Come on now, follow my thousand stars. Place your head on my beating heart. I'm thinking now.
So I think it sounds really good for a phone. Again, you're not going to hold a disco. People still have discos. Party. You don't have a party using your phone as the main device, but they do sound. The stereo speakers do sound very good. I don't know if my podcast player is.
Distance pace. I thought he might be able to keep with the top two a little bit better.
Just running through the results, then you had Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez, then it was Leclerc, Ricciardo, Bottas, Sainz, Norris, Tsunoda, and Vettel at top 10. Giovinazzi, Stroll, Raikkonen, Russell, Latifi.
And that's a bit of podcast. It sounds really loud and clear. I think I'm going to be very happy with the speakers. The screen looks very good. We've run a Geekbench. Does okay. I'm not concerned by the performance. Maybe I'll put Antutu on before for the actual review. So there we go. Early impressions. It is quite a lump. It is quite a weight to it, but I think it looks. I like the design. It's quite unique. It definitely feels very premium. The fingerprint sensor, which I was maybe worried about, seems to be fine. I'll probably have to stick a different launcher on just to make my own life a bit easier. But yeah, it seems early impressions, and that's all this video is a first quick look at the device. Seems good. I think the size is going to be the thing for me. How will I adapt from my Pixel 5 to the Pixel 6? Obviously, I'm going to give it a go. There is a chance I decide, you know what, I'm going to stick with the 5. I prefer the size of the 5. But let's see. If you haven't subscribed, I'm going to state the obvious. Make sure you do, because I'll be putting out various bits of content, like more. I'll probably do a few maybe a camera showdown between the 6 and the 5, something like that perhaps, or just a review of the cameras. Let me know what you would prefer. How would you prefer to see that? I'll probably do my head-to-head that I do, which would be the 6 against the 5, and maybe I think I've still got the Poco F3 knocking around somewhere. There'll be some sample video anyway. And obviously the actual review probably next Monday, which won't matter if you're watching this in 3 weeks time, but the review, I'll get it done. I'm a bit busy over the weekend, but I'll try and get the review done on Monday. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Have you opted for a 6? Did you go for the 6 or the 6 Pro? If you went with the Pro, why? Do you really think £250 is worth the extra little bits that you get? Or if you didn't opt for either of them, you're sticking with a 4 or a 5, Pixel 4 or 5 or 4A. Just let me know in the comments why. I'm not saying it's wrong. I think there's a very good chance you're right, but to me the 6 is a bit of a leap in the sort of progressions of the Pixels, and I just thought I wanted to get on board. I wanted to be part of that leap. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to cover at this point, so my name's Andy. I'll catch you all again soon.